Hello everybody and welcome back to RP1. In today's episode we're going to mainly focus on a plane mission, however we are going to have a rocket flight at the end of it. We have a contract to reach supersonic speeds with a jet, and we're going to need to build a jet, but we don't have one in this save file, so we're going to start off with that and then we're going to get to the mission. I just want to let you know RSS Reborn is in full force today and is looking very pretty. So here we are, here's our contract. We got to hold between 625 and 650. Got to stay level, so we're going to be using an autopilot to keep our craft stable. Let's go ahead and just take a look at what we've got coming up. We've got a couple optional contracts for X-planes, and then a high altitude and a hypersonic. We can't achieve those just yet. In fact, it's going to be a little bit before we can achieve those. I was a little bit spoiled in our last RP1 session because since we did X-planes much later down the line, we had access to lighter weight materials and better engines and all sorts of stuff. We're really being put to the limit right here. We're getting tested quite a bit with starting X-planes with such low technology. Okay, so kind of started talking through the beginning of the plane. We got a regular jet trainer cockpit because that's just kind of what is available to us at the moment. I don't want to use the X-15 cockpit. I want to be able to have capacity for more than one crew member on here, because on this flight we're going to actually hire a new pilot and get them trained up as well, so we can have two pilots to cycle through during our X-plane contracts. Okay, so I just have an extended body. I can't remember the name of that engine, but what I ended up doing was I filtered the search by most expensive, and even though but this one isn't the most expensive. There's actually two above this. But this is the one that is the most expensive, that has the most amount of upgrades. And I'm thinking that will be more beneficial right now than... because, you know, there were ones with better dry thrust and, you know, things like that. But I want something that will be able to last. I want to be able to get data on this engine and continue to use it far into the future. And this one has quite a few engine upgrades, so we're gonna go with that. It's a turbojet something. There's a J in it. Maybe I'll put it on the screen now if I find it. Okay, so we are now focusing on our tail fins and the control surfaces for them. And on this jet, we're going to take some time, quite a bit of time actually, to just fine-tune some of these pieces. I don't bring up the aerodynamics menu, the Ferrum Air Research menu. I don't bring that up at all, and I think I will going forward. I think I'm going to try to make more of an attempt at learning it. I want to thank the couple of people who have given me more advice. I do understand it a little bit better now, a little bit better of what I'm looking at. But I think I'm going to try to put it into a little more practice. Therefore, we're going to try to use it a little bit more. But I do know that small, minuscule movements, precise changes can make a huge difference sometimes. So I am going to spend some time to try to get things right. And in the very same breath, I'm going to spend absolutely no time in shaping those wings. I don't know if you just saw that, but I just kind of slapdashed it together. But, you know, you live and you learn, or you live at any rate. But we are going to, and this jet plane is kind of an awkward design, the way that what would that be? Not the fuselage, the fuel tank. Maybe that is the fuselage. I'm not an expert in aerodynamics or the terms, but I'll try to get a little bit better. RP1 is a game where you have to do some homework. You know, I've been slacking on my RP1 homework. There we go, just putting little end caps on the wings. But yeah, it's kind of an awkward design of a plane. I have to put the wings so far back due to the center of mass, in the center of lift, being all wiggly wonk, and I have to play around with the fuel because if I put the center of lift too close to the center of mass, once we run out of fuel, they will switch positions and flip our plane. So it's very important to keep the center of lift behind the center of mass in all aspects of both a full plane and an empty plane. And we're going to do a test flight, and in that test flight I noticed just how off my tail fin control surfaces were, and couldn't have that, as well as none of them were set to the right zone, pitch, yaw, roll. So we had to get that set. Look how many upgrades this engine had. So yeah, we're going to do pretty good with that. I didn't like the way that it flew, and so I'm deciding to just change the wings a little bit. I didn't want to change the end caps on the wings, so I just made the wings a little stubbier. It didn't matter too much, but I did want to lessen the weight on here, and that's why I got rid of that front nose cone part, and we're just going to try to lessen this. So now it is time to color it. We did a successful test flight. Whenever you see me doing color, that means that the jet is basically ready. Kind of figuring out our color theme for this this family of jets, and we're thinking like this baby blue or robin's egg blue. I don't know what kind of blue that is, but this light blue, sky blue. There we go. This sky blue color and white on there. We're kind of forced to stick with white just because you can't color the cockpits, unfortunately. So, but that's okay. We're just gonna kind of work with it. So we're gonna have this blue and white color scheme throughout the JP series, and that stands for jet planes. And so our early planes are gonna have that. Doing some final touches on some of the pieces. Yeah, at the very same time, I spent quite a bit of time trying to fine-tune some of these pieces, the control surfaces, and then in the very same sense, I could have spent so much more time. I think I might have rushed it a little bit, you know, looking back on this afterwards, I'm like, oh, there's still a lot of work to be done there. I did not. Oh, and I also forgot to upgrade to the stringer tanks. And then the last change we're going to kind of work on is these, the wings could have been a little bit stronger. I ended up doing a test flight where I just unintentionally banked a little too hard, and they just destroyed the plane. So I turned the wing strength up to 1. I'm going to throw some parachutes on the back, save this, and now it is time to tool the vessel and launch. We're going to unlock our parts. I forgot to tool the plane first. Thankfully, it let me know that, so I got to tool it afterwards, and almost cut the price in half. That's pretty good. So we're going to put one of those in the build queue. We're not going to do 2. Normally I like to have 2 jets, but we got to be very careful with our money nowadays. So looking at all the different pilots, I want someone with a low stupidity and a high courage rate, and it takes me no time at all to find Amanda Bennett. So she will be our next pilot, and she will be actually on this mission as well with Sascha Hahn. They're going to do a joint flight. So now we need to get them trained, and it's going to take a little bit for the proficiency, so we're going to train them both right now before we even time warp anything. Also here at the very bottom of the list, I have a downrange 5000. This was the redundancy rocket to make sure that if anything went wrong with our last launch, we had a second one. I forgot about that in the queue, and so I'm going to end up letting it basically build entirely. So that's where we're going to get a launch today. I could have scrapped it, you know, gotten a little bit of money back, but I decided to go with it. We're going to make use out of that launch. Alright, so we're going to get ready to air launch. We're going to prep that and time warp forward. And now it is a cloudy day, but that should be fine. We're going to set our distance to be 500 because at 400 we felt we were coming a little too close. So we're just going to kind of eyeball it at 500. So we are going to bring up our contract menu because we are about to pass a milestone of 15 kilometers in a crewed vessel. 15 kilometers altitude, that is. And there we go. It's nice to pass a few extra records while you go. We're also going to try to attempt the 20 kilometers in this flight, but we'll do that later. And so now we're just going to time warp to approach the correct speed, and then once we get there we're going to put on the atmospheric autopilot to hold ourselves at that speed. So we have our speed control set on, so now we should be holding at 637 meters per second, roughly, give or take a few meters per second. And our countdown is active, so we are now fulfilling the necessary requirements. Because one of the things is we have to not be pitching up or down, we can't be at an angle, and so that's why the atmospheric autopilot is so important, is because it can hold us steady like that. I'm going to bring up the contract window and just make it big here for you so you can see just exactly how long we have left to go. Look at those clouds. I have, the volumetric clouds has reinstilled my love of flying planes in Kerbal Space Program, and I don't know that I can play without them anymore. I tried doing a short run without the volumetric clouds and barren blue skies, being able to see for miles. It lost that touch, that little special extra. Alright, so we got about 5 seconds left to complete the contract. We got plenty of fuel, we're going at a correct speed, all the things are good, and so we successfully completed that contract. All we gotta do now is land safely and bring the Kerbals home. And so now we are going to change our altitude to be just over the 20 kilometer mark. We're just going to peek our heads in there and then come back down. The reason why the peaking is important is because this cockpit's ceiling of pressure capacity is 20 kilometers. So if we spend too much time there, and not a lot of time is it that we have to spend, but if we spend too much time, those Kerbals will die. And we can't kill our pilots for a milestone. It's just can't do that. So we are 19,000 kilometers? 19 kilometers, excuse me. And 20. And that's all we need. So let's go ahead and dip back down and head back home. Turns out our engine doesn't like to do anything except for full power or zero. I tried to just limit our thrust a little bit and it just decided to turn off. So we're just going to keep it off and float our way down. Because I have a feeling that we're close, we're going to want to lessen our altitude before we approach and not come down at too dramatic of an angle. But of course, these clouds are in the way. It's a cloudy day, and so we can't really see the KSC. And I'm scrolling through my sidebar here, but it turns out that I had forgotten to add the waypoint manager. It's not included in the RP1, so I forgot to add it. And so therefore I can't just place a waypoint at the KSC and be able to tell how far I am from there. So I'm going to have to go below the cloud layer and just take a peek with my naked eye. And it is dark. If RSS Reborn had weather, it would definitely be storming right now. And we're gonna go a little lower. We are only about 1,500 meters above the surface, so it's a little concerning coming down this quickly. But here we are, below the cloud layer, and I cannot see the KSC anywhere. We are nowhere near it. And flying this low is a little inefficient. It's actually quite inefficient, but we don't want to miss it, so we're going to fly down here for a little bit. You know, we have 12 minutes worth of flight time left, so that's not too bad. We are going at 4 times physics warp, so that 12 minutes is now 11 minutes, and it's only going down faster from there. Take a peek in my map, and it shows we're still pretty far away from the KSD, but at least we're heading in the right direction. Turns out the 500, that extra 100 kilometers that we added just eyeballing right before we left made a difference, made a big difference. So we are going to try to get our pilots home as best we can. So we're going to head back up, get a little bit more height, try to get a little more efficiency out of our engine, because since we know that we're nowhere close, we don't need to stay underneath to eyeball it anymore. But I don't have a lot of fuel, so I can't really go too high. I can't get high enough where my engines really hit their maximum efficiency. So we're just going to have to cruise here at 3,500 meters. Gorgeous. Just got to take a moment to appreciate all the work that BlackRack and Ballistics Fox did on this. This is just truly incredible. Incredible stuff. Not really sure why I decided to dip back down when I did. I think maybe I was concerned that I was going too far and I might not be able to, or I might have missed being able to see it, but we only had 4 minutes left of fuel anyways, and the difference that it would have made up there and down here, not much of one. So we're just going to kind of accept our fate. We're not going to make it back to the KSC. Like, it is nowhere in sight, so we're going to have to make a water landing with our 1 minute left of fuel. So we're going to try to straighten out as best we can, and once our engines come out, we're going to just try to glide down. And there's flame out. Looking pretty shallow here. Like, definitely not wading depth, but I can see the ocean floor, making it not really feel like an ocean. Still beautiful though. The water texture on this is quite nice. So we're just gonna glide down as best we can, a couple 550 meters above the surface and dropping. We're going at 160 some odd meters per second and dropping, so we shouldn't be in too much danger, but as with any flight, until the moment your vehicle comes to a complete stop, there's always going to be danger. That's why I like to keep most of the footage of my flights. I'll skip through some of the stuff with the rockets, but when it comes to flying the planes, I like to keep as much of that as possible because it's an adventure. Every flight is something new and different. You know, rockets are a matter of like test flying them and just getting the parameters perfect and then just trying to nail the most efficient launch that you can. But when it comes to human flight, when I say rockets, I'm talking about probes. So, you know, obviously it's going to be different once we get Kerbals in the seats. We'll probably be shown a lot. Because look at that fear in Amanda Bennett. Sascha is doing pretty good. Sascha's having a great old time. But Amanda is realizing that she has never done a landing before, much less a water landing. But yeah, planes are just something different. So here I'm coming down way too fast. I pop my parachutes way too late, and they don't do anything to slow me down. But when we hit, we just stop like a brick. And yeah, everyone's safe and sound. Everyone's alive. It's gonna be good. So we're gonna have to redesign this plane a little bit for the next flight, but hopefully we'll unlock some more science, which means that we can get the next engine configuration for that, which means it'll be a little more efficient, and so on and so forth. And something fun I didn't notice you could do here is dip back down below the clouds as you fly your way into space for a pretty view. But anyways, let's go ahead and just jump right into the rocket launch. Didn't miss much in between, just time warp to launch. So this launch is going to be another downrange, trying to get as far as we can, but this time we're going to head north. I would like to get the rocket above a new biome and hopefully collect some more science. So the rocket begins to do a spin stabilization. This was recorded before I got the tip about spin stabilization early on in the flight, and so I'm going to apply that into future rockets, but for now, we're spinning. We're using Smart ASS to control. I tried doing it with MechJeb. I just don't have a lot of luck with MechJeb in RSS. I need to learn a little bit more. But so we're gonna just use Smart ASS and fly by hand. So we're gonna skip ahead just a little bit to the next stage in the burn and separate. The SRB ignites and it runs out of fuel. The second SRB ignites and then the AeroB ignites and separation. We've got a clean ullage. So as long as this engine burns for as long as it is rated for, we should be doing pretty good. We're making a little bit of science, not a lot. I should have headed a little more west. I just went straight north, and then I failed to take an real fast. I also forgot to take off the sounding payload that was meant for the previous contract. I just, this wasn't the most efficient launch, but anyways, I forgot to notice that we would be flying over the ocean for the majority of this flight. So if I had headed just a little bit more west, we would have been over land the entire time, and I might have gotten new biome. So there we go, we've reached engine shutoff. You can see the whole of Florida here, quite gorgeous. And separation of the lower stage. So now it's just a matter of coming back down. We ran out of science that we were running, so this really only gave us a little bit, not much to work with. Look how gorgeous that is. I think that's the Appalachian Mountains right there that you can see. Nice. So here we are in danger of bombing Canada. So we gotta always gotta be careful of where debris lands in RSS. I mean, it doesn't actually matter. You're not gonna harm anything, but just for that little bit of immersion. But it turns out we're gonna clearly miss Canada, and we're gonna bomb Santa's workshop instead. We can see the Aurora Borealis. It's quite nice. The first time I've seen it in RSS. We re-enter the atmosphere. Clouds looking gorgeous and fluffy. I was tempted to turn on the some of the cheats to make it so that this probe landed without exploding through heat, just to see if we could hit anything, if we could land anywhere, or if we're just in the water. But But I decided not to, because, you know, this is career mode after all. And even for a fun shot, we're not going to cheat. But there we go. We didn't do much except for get a little bit more data on our engines. There's, because, you know, there wasn't much science to be had, but that's okay. We're going to be working on some science launches soon, and things are going to start progressing quickly. And I'm really excited to see where that goes. And I hope you are as well. In the next episode, we're going to focus more on the suborbital research and hopefully get some more of that done. But we are going to be balancing our X-Plane program as well. But anyways, that's where I'm going to leave today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're looking forward for more RP1. If you did, please consider giving me a like, drop me a comment, let me know your thoughts, and I will see y'all in the next one. Take care.